Nicodemus here. On today's episode, I just wanted to quickly dive into what do some of your clients have going on that it comes up a lot?
Yeah, I'd say, I was been fortunate over the years to work with a lot of people, and especially some of the people I work with one-on-one now, many of them have reached a certain level of success, or, they got in their life together in such a way that, in the world's eyes, they've reached a certain level of success, abundance. And I'm going to say this, I was just sharing this actually with someone recently, is that everyone comes, it seems like they're in the same spot, no matter how much they've got in their life to be the quote way they want it to be. There always seems to be this feeling of emptiness or unfulfillment, or if I could just get it, like I got it this way, but if I could just get it that way, and then they get it that way. And it's like, but if I could just get it, and it's almost like if you remember the whack-a-mole game we played as a kid, you whack the mole and it keeps popping up, and it's designed to do that. It's designed that we it seems to be endless problems, and I think that there's something really fundamental in that understanding and that outlook, is that the reason that it's like that is because at our very core, none of the things of our life and in the world can ultimately fill us up. We've talked about extensively on the channel, and I've been reading the Bible as well. We talk about some of the comparisons, the Bible, Course of Miracles, and, in the New Testament, I had completed the New Testament recently, and a lot of the Paul's letter to the Corinthians or Ephesians, and, you know, uh, really what the apostles were understanding, it comes down to what Jesus was talking about, is that I'll give it to you from this perspective. We can't look to the world and look to God at the same time. Which, what does that mean? If my investment is in the world, then I'm always gonna come up short. That's why Jesus said, "Do not offer your treasure up where moth and dust doth corrupt and thieves break in, but offer it up in heaven where your Father is, because where your treasure is, there your heart is also." Well, that's the foundation of also Jesus' teaching in A Course in Miracles, is that any investment in the outside world, so think of it through our physical eyes, any investment through our eyes in the outside world is always gonna come up short, and we're always gonna feel unfulfilled. It's designed that way. Now, that doesn't mean that we get rid of our business and our, the things we do and our responsibilities, investments, and things like that. It's not that at all. But what it is about is it's about opening up the spiritual sight. It's about opening up to what actually matters here, and what's the order of love, that I love the things in my life. So I'll give you an example of this. I saw a priest talking about this, that if I place, let's say, my business above my relationship with my kids will suffer. If I place my kids over my relationship with my wife will suffer. If I place my marriage over my relationship with God, I will suffer. So through putting things in the proper perspective and understanding that the most fundamental thing that we have is the relationship with the Holy Spirit, the relationship with God. And if that is not on the altar and we look to put something else on the altar, we will always suffer. I don't care how much we have a good run at it, where it's like, oh, it's all working out, everything changes. So no matter, you could feel on top today, and then things happen. Everything's constantly in flux and constantly changing. And one of the things that is one of the biggest challenges for people I've worked with, are people who, let's say, they've reached a certain level of success, and either they lost it, or they reached that level of success, but it just got to be nothing for them, where they feel like they're going through the motions. Well, what ends up happening is it's almost like they feel worse than before they got the thing that they were chasing after. Because at least when they were chasing after it, there was a hope that when I obtain it, it's going to finally give me the peace and the salvation that I think I'm after. It never works that way. There's a lesson in the Course in Miracles, which, it's interesting. I just sent this to a client after talking to them today. And this lesson 50 says, "I'm sustained by the love of God." Here, I love this line. I'll read maybe the first paragraph. It says, "Here is the answer. I'm sustained by the love of God. Here is the answer to every problem that will confront you today and tomorrow and throughout time." Now, you and I both know there's going to be problems that confront you. I'll say problems. They always appear to be problems. So what Jesus is saying in the Course is that I am sustained by the love of God is the answer to every problem that will confront you today and tomorrow and throughout time. In this world, you believe you are sustained by everything but God. Your faith is placed in the most trivial and insane symbols: pills, money, quote, protective clothing, influence, prestige, being liked, knowing the, quote, right people, and an endless list of forms of nothingness that you endow with magical powers. All these things are your replacements for the love of God. Only the love of God will protect you in all circumstances. It will lift you out of every trial and raise you high above all the perceived dangers of this world into a climate of perfect peace and safety. It will transport you into a state of mind that nothing can threaten, nothing can disturb, and where nothing can intrude upon the eternal calm of the Son of God, which is you. It's deep, but it's very simple. Here's the thing, that if we place our faith in anything of the in the world, one of the things Jesus says in the Course is, "Don't seek outside yourself, for it will fail, and you will weep each time an idol falls." Heaven cannot be found where it's not. Now, how do we know if we placed an idol or we tried to replace the love of God? It's really simple. How do we feel? If you feel stressed and tired and weary and angry and frustrated and heavy, you made an idol out of something in the world that you put on the altar. Think of your mind like the altar we talk about frequently in the channel. You put something else on the altar. And the only thing that belongs on the altar is the Holy Spirit. So going back, if I feel heavy, static, beaten down, weary, tiresome. Not like tired, like I had a long day and a fun day and it's time for bed, but that like heaviness. You could be sure that you made an idol in the world. And what Jesus says in the Course is you could be sure it will betray you. So this is an opportunity wherever you're at in your life, look at your life. Where are those places where you still, it's like we give the Holy Spirit some things, but these little things over here we still hold for ourselves. And I'm gonna finally get that to be right in the way that I want it to be. And then I'll be at peace and then I'll be free. Where do you do that? And then can you start to pull away from the attachments to the idols of the way you want it to look and say, not my will, but thy will? I think I shared this in one of the videos, but it's worth repeating again, is that this is what Jesus communicated with Helen when Helen slipped and made a quote Freudian slip of she was referring to, she was saying a prayer and really journaling to, if you'll tell me what to do with this person, I'll do it. But what she wrote is, if you'll tell me what to do, I will to do it. And what Jesus says is that in that moment, in that slip, you are aligning your will with God's. And then Jesus corrected it and even a bit further and said, if you will tell me what to do, only that I will to do. And he said to Helen, this is the way that leads out of the desert forever. So what it looks like for us in our life is to pull away the attachments, the idols that we place on the altar, that all they've been doing is causing us grief and pain and suffering, and withdrawing our investment in them and saying, if you'll tell me what to do, only that I will to do. And I'll be a willing participant if you'll guide me. So look in your life and look for those places of frustration, of pain, of suffering, of anger, of conflict, and look at the idol that you've made out of the situation or the person and see if you could withdraw your investment into it and turn your eyes towards God, into the Holy Spirit, and put your full investment to the Holy Spirit to be guided. And you will be guided very specifically. All you need to do is listen.